people for justice, peace, and a better future. Sa mga sandaling ito, pinipili naming kumilos, hindi dahil sa pansariling interes, kundi dahil sa pananampalataya. Hindi dahil sa pamumulitika, kundi dahil sa pagmamalasakit. Naway magsilbing lingap ng liwanag at pag-asa ang Senado. Pag-asa na sa kabila ng lahat, may institusyong handang maglingkod ng tapat. Remind us, O God, that our position is not about power, but about service. Not about self-preservation, but about self-giving. Not about silence, but about solidarity. For the love of our country and our kababayan, we pray. Amen.
Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 senators present, Chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader?
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we proceed, may I just be allowed to acknowledge some guests from the gallery. Guests of Senator Ejercito, Mayor Wenda Dolor of Bawan, Batangas, Mayor Reggie Virtucio of San Jose, Batangas, Board Member Fausto of the 3rd District of Cagayan, guests of Senator Go, LGU officials of Pasacao, Camarines Sur, headed by Mayor Tino Taico, guests of Senators Pangilinan and Aquino, Mayor Maruja Senyar of Magarao, Camarines Sur, guests of Senator Alan Cayetano, Mayor Jess Baha of Garcia Hernandez, Bohol, Representative Cruzado of 1st District of Cotabato, and Board Member Pagarigan of Tarlac. Guests of Senator Pangilinan and Ejercito, Mayor Dennis Glynn, Vice Mayor Luel Golfo, Vice Mayor Kim Soberano of Ternate, Cavite, Mayor Junin Caberte of Sevilla, Bohol, Mayor Dexter Anclao of Inabanga, Bohol, Mayor Dave Dualio of Buenavista, Bohol. Guests of Senator Go and the Senate, the Philippine Women's National Ice Hockey Team. Mr. President, they're all with us. They're gold medalists at the 2025 International Ice Hockey Federation Women's Asia Cup held in the United Arab Emirates. Guests of the Senate, public administration students and faculty of Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Guests of Senator Rafi Tulfo, Ms. Joy Barcoma, Miss Philippines Earth 2025. Guests of this representation, Mayor Jenny Barzaga of City of Dasmariñas, Mayor Rosalina Visorde of Calawag, Quezon, and guests of Senator Marcoleta, Mrs. Vicky Escudero, Raul Escudero, Ms. Edita Coquia, and Ms. Norma Delizo. We welcome all of them in this august chamber.
To the aforementioned guests, welcome to your Senate. Before proceeding, Chair would like to correct the records since Senator Zubiri was already here. So Chair would like to correct that there are 24 senators present today. We are complete. Majority Leader?
Yes, Mr. President, we also like to acknowledge Sir Dondon Ontiveros, our basketball idol, who is also at the gallery. And Mr. President, we would like to put on record, Mr. President, that tomorrow is the birthday of our dear colleague, the gentleman from Las Piñas, Senator Mark Villar. We wish him a happy birthday, and for that, I ask, Mr. President, that we suspend the session for a minute.
Session is suspended in order to afford our colleagues time to greet our birthday celebrant tomorrow, Senator Mark Villar. Session is suspended.
Planning, materials design, construction, occupancy, maintenance, modification, and abatement of buildings. Padilla. Promoting building resilience against earthquake, fire, flood, landslide, storm, volcanic eruption, and multiple hazards within an all-hazards approach to resilience building and acting a new Philippine Building Act. Repealing RA 6541, introduced by Senator Lacson. Senator Zubiri.
The Committees
The
on
Senate
Public
President.
Works and Finance. 23 senators
402, an act
present.
instituting
Chair declares
reforms
the
in
presence of a quorum.
administration, Senator
Majority
Lacson.
Leader.
Yes, Mr. President.
To the
Mr. President,
Committees on
before we
Civil Service,
proceed, may I
Government
just be
Organization,
allowed
Professional
to
Regulation,
acknowledge
Justice
some
and Human
guests from
Rights
the
and
gallery,
Finance.
guests of
Senate number
Senator
403, an
Ejercito,
act
Mayor
penalizing any
Wenda
person
Dolor of
providing or
Bawan,
possessing
Batangas,
contraband and those who
Mayor
shall
Reggie
aid or
Virtu
abet
Shop,
that
San Jose,
introduction of
Batangas,
the same
Board
inside
Member
any prison facility
Fausto of the 3rd
administered by the
District
Department of
of
Justice,
Cagayan,
providing
guests
penalties
of
therefore and
Senator
for other
Go,
purposes,
LGU
Senator Lacson.
officials
To the Committee on
of
Justice and
Macau,
Human Rights.
Camarines Sur, headed by
404,
Mayor
an act
Tinio
instituting the medical
Taico,
assistance to indigent
guests
and
of
financially
Senators
incapacitated
Pangilinan and
patients
Aquino,
under the
Mayor
framework
Maruja,
of the Universal
Senyar of
Healthcare for
Magarao,
all Filipinos,
Camarines Sur,
amending RA
guests of Senator
11223,
Alan
the Universal
Cayetano,
Healthcare
Mayor
Act,
Jess
Senator
Baja of
Lacson.
Garcia Hernandez
To the Committee on Health and Demography, Social
Representative
Justice,
Cruzado
Welfare and Rural
of,
Development and
1st
Finance.
District of
405,
Cotabato,
an
and
act
Board
establishing the
Member
Local Government Development
Pagarigan
Fund,
of
mandating the
Tarlac.
allocation of
Guests of
1% of the
Senator
total
Pangilinan and
value
Ejercito,
added
Mayor
tax
Dennis
collections to finance
Glynn,
local
Vice
development
Mayor
projects,
Luel
programs, and activities,
Golfo,
Senator Lacson.
Vice
To the
Mayor
Committees on
Kim
Local Government,
Soberano
Ways and
of
Means, and
Ternate,
Finance.
Cavite,
406, an
Mayor
act amending
Junine
certain sections of
Caberte
RA
of Sevilla
9173,
Bohol,
the
Mayor
Philippine Nursing
Dexter
Act of
Ancla of
2002, providing for an
Inabanga
advanced
Bohol,
education
Mayor
program,
Dave
Senator Go.
Dualio of
To the Committees on
Buena
Civil
Vista
Service,
Bohol.
Government
Guests of Senator
Organization,
Go
and
and the
Professional
Senate,
Regulation,
the
Health and
Philippine
Demography.
Women's
407,
National
an
Ice
amendment
Hockey
Section
Team,
8 of
Mr. President.
RA
They're all with us.
10699, the
They're
National
gold
Athletes and
medalists
Coaches
at the
Benefits and Incentives
2025
Act, Senator Go.
International
the
Ice
Committees
Hockey
on Sports, Ways and
Federation,
Means, and
Women's
Finance.
Asia Cup held
408,
in the
strengthening the system of
United
filing of
Arab
delayed registration
Emirates.
of births in the
Guests
country,
of the
amended for the
Senate
purpose
Public
Act number
Administration students and
3753,
faculty
Senator Go.
of
To the Committees on
Polytechnic
Health and
University
Demography,
of the
Social Justice,
Philippines.
Welfare and Rural
Guests
Development and
of
Finance.
Senator
409,
Rafi
an
Tulfo,
act
Ms. Joy
institutionalizing
Barcoma,
the
Miss
medical
Philippines
assistance to
Earth
indigent and financially
2025.
incapacitated patients
Guests of this
program under the
representation,
DOH,
Mayor
providing funds
Jenny
therefore and for other
Barzaga of
purposes,
City
Senator
of
Go.
Dasmariñas,
the
Mayor
Committees
Rosalina
on Health,
Visorde of
Demography, Social
Calawag,
Justice, Welfare and Rural
Quezon, and
Development
guests of
and Finance.
Senator Marcoleta, Ms.
410, an act
Vicky
providing for additional
Escudero,
support and
Raul
across-the-board allowance for all public
Escudero,
teaching
Ms.
and non-teaching
Edita
personnel engaged in
Coquia,
basic
and
education
Ms.
appropriating funds
Norma
therefore,
Delizo.
Senator
We
Go.
welcome
To
all
the
of them
Committees
in
on
this
Civil
August
Service,
chamber.
Government Organization and Professional To the Regulation, aforementioned Basic guests, Education welcome and to your Finance. Senate. Before
411,
proceeding, Chair
an
would
act
like to
establishing the
correct the
Philippine Senior
records.
Citizens Hospital
Since Senator
and Research
Zubiri
Institute
was
defining its
already
powers and
here,
functions and appropriating funds therefore,
so
Senator
Chair
Go.
would The like to Committees on Health correct and that Demography and there are Finance. 24
412,
senators
providing for the
present
Magna
today.
Carta
We are
of Barangay
complete.
Health Workers,
Majority
Senator
Leader.
Yes,
Go.
Mr.
To the
President, we
Committees on
also
Health
like
and
to
Demography, Local
acknowledge
Government and Finance.
Sir
413,
Don
institutionalizing the
Montiveros,
Philippine National
our
Games and appropriating funds
basketball
therefore, Senator Go.
idol, who is
To the Committees on
also
Sports
at the
and
gallery.
Finance.
And Mr. President,
414, an act
we would
enhancing the
like to
medical
put
access
on
of overseas
record,
Filipino
Mr.
workers and their
President, that
families, establishing
tomorrow
for the purpose the Overseas
is the
Filipino Workers
birthday
Hospital,
of our dear
appropriating funds
colleague,
and for other
the
purposes,
gentleman
Senator
from
Go.
Las
To the Committees
Piñas,
on Health and
Senator Mark
Demography, Migrant
Villar. We
Workers and
wish
Finance.
him a happy
415, an act
birthday,
establishing the
and
rental
for that,
housing subsidy
I ask
program
Mr.
and providing
President
funds
that we
therefore and for
suspend
other
the
purposes,
session for a
Senator
minute.
Go.
To the Committees on Session is Urban Planning, suspended Housing in and order for Development and in order to afford our
416, an act
colleagues time to
establishing
read
the anti-stunting action
our
plan,
birthday
Council in the
celebrant
Philippines,
tomorrow,
defining its
Senator
powers and
Mark Villar.
functions,
Session
appropriating
is
funds and
suspended.
for other purposes, Senator Cayetano, AP.
To the Committees on Health and Demography, Social Justice, Welfare, Rural Development and Finance.
417, act creating a Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, providing for its powers and functions and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano, AP.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Food and
From volunteers to job order, contractual, casual, or regular employees, and further strengthening the barangay healthcare system and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano,
To
EP.
the Committees on Health and Demography, Local Government and Finance.
420, providing for the creation of a super health
Let's
centers
take a
in
moment
every
of
city and
silence
municipality, appropriating funds
to
and for other
acknowledge the
purposes, Senator
presence of the
Cayetano,
To the
divine
EP.
Committees on
in our
Health and
midst.
Demography, Local
In the name of
Government
the
and
Father,
Finance.
and of the
421,
Son, and
mandating
of
the
the Holy
establishment of
Spirit.
health
Amen.
centers in all barangays, appropriating
Loving
funds and
and
for other
just
purposes, Senator
Creator,
Cayetano, EP.
To the
God
Committees
of
on
all
Health and Demography,
faiths
Local
and all
Government and
peoples,
Finance.
422,
You who walk with us
institutionalizing a
through
unified and
both triumph
learner-centered
and
voucher
trial.
system for basic education to rationalize government
Today, we
subsidies
come
to learners
together
and teachers
not
and
just
private
as
education and
lawmakers,
strengthen complementary
but as
between
fellow
public and private
Filipinos.
educational institutions
Public
and for other
servants
purposes.
with a
Senator
shared
Cayetano,
mission
EP.
To the Committees on
protect,
Basic Education and
uplift,
Finance.
and
423,
empower.
creating the Department of Sports, defining its powers
As we
and functions,
reflect on
appropriating
your
funds
word,
therefore and for other purposes. Senator
Today
Cayetano,
you
EP.
remind
To the
us,
Committees on Sports, Civil Service,
two of
Government
you on
Reorganization, and
earth
Professional
agree about
Regulation, Ways and
anything
Means,
they
and
ask,
Finance.
424,
It will
abolition
be
of
done
travel
for
tax on
them by my
Filipinos and the
Father in
nationals of
heaven.
Association of Southeast Asian
For where
Nations
two
member
or
states
three
traveling to
gather in
other
my
ASEAN
name,
member states.
I am
Senator
there
Cayetano,
among
EP.
them.
To the Committees on Ways and Means and Tourism.
Kaya ngayon,
4
kami
to
po ay
5, anak providing
nagkakaisa.
for
Hindi
the
lamang
new
bilang
Omnibus
mga
Election Code of
mambabatas,
2025,
kundi
Senator
bilang mga
Marcos.
To the
mamamayan
Committees on
may
Electoral Reforms and
pananagutan.
People's Participation and
Naidulog
Constitutional
sa inyo
Amendments and Revision of
ang
Codes.
aming mga
426, anak
panalangin.
creating the Water Resources and Management
Para sa mga
Authority,
kapatid
defining
namin
its powers
higit
and
na
functions, providing funds
nangangailangan
therefore
ng
and for other
kahina
purposes, Senator
at
Marcos.
To the
pagkilala.
Committees on Public Services, Civil Service, Government Organization and Professional Regulation and Finance.
427, anak providing an option to elected government officials to pay voluntary contributions to the GSIS to enable them to complete the minimum years of contribution for purposes of availing retirement and other applicable benefits, thereby amending RA 8291, the GSIS Act of 1997, Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Government Organization and Professional Regulation and Government Corporations and Public Enterprises.
428, anak granting salaries and other benefits to barangay officials and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Local Government, Civil Service, Government Organization and Professional Regulation and Finance.
429, anak prohibiting discrimination on the basis of age, indigenous, racial, or ethnic origin, religious belief or activity, political inclination or conviction, social class, sex, gender, sexual orientation, sex characteristics, gender identity, gender expression, marital or relationship status, disability, HIV status, profession or occupation, health status or medical history, language, physical features, and other status, and providing penalties for Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, Cultural Communities, and Muslim Affairs.
430, anak instituting a property regime for cohabiting same-sex partners and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality.
Senate number 431, amending RA 11037, the mas sustansyang pagkain para sa Batang Pilipino Act, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, and Finance.
Senate number 432, amending RA 8550, the Philippine Fisheries Code of 1998, as amended by RA 10654 and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform.
433, anak recognizing digital assets, requiring the registration of digital asset enterprises, their operators, and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies.
434, prohibiting producers and manufacturers of baby food from adding sugar on their products and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Health and Demography, Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship, and Finance.
435, instituting a system of combat pay and combat incentive pay of the AFP, the PNP, and the Philippine Coast Guard, setting the rates therefore and for other purposes, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification and Reconciliation, Public Order, and Dangerous Drugs, and Finance.
436, establishing alternative learning programs and providing developmental assistance to out-of-school youth and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on Youth, Higher Technical Vocational Education, and Finance.
437, mandating all public elementary and secondary schools to implement a no-collection policy, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committee on Basic Education.
438, providing for the administrative reform and reorganization of the Philippine Coast Guard, repealing RA 9993, the Philippine Coast Guard Law of 2009, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on Public Services, Civil Service, Government Organization and Professional Regulation, Ways and Means, and Finance.
439, establishing security monitoring systems inside prison cells in the Philippines, appropriating funds therefore, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, Justice and Human Rights, and Finance.
440, defining and prohibiting elder abuse, providing penalties therefore, and for other purposes, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on Justice and Human Rights, Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, and Finance.
441, expanding the coverage of RA 10627, the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013, and for other purposes, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Finance.
442, recognizing transportation network companies and drivers, prescribing requirements, guidelines, and standards for the operation, providing penalties for violation thereof, and for other purposes, Senator Tulfo
To the
R.
Committees on Public Services, Ways and Means.
443, regulating the operation of motorcycles for hire and providing penalties for violation thereof, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committee on Public Services.
444, mandating the establishment of public crematoriums in cities and municipalities and extending free cremation services to indigent families, amending Section 17 of RA 7160, the Local Government Code of the Philippines, and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on Local Government, Health and Demography, and Finance.
445, strengthening the mandate, capabilities, and organizational structure of the MTRCB and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Public Information and Mass Media, Ways and Means, and Finance.
446, incorporating a drug abuse prevention program in subjects from grades 7 to 12 under the K-12 basic education curriculum, mandating capacity building on drug abuse prevention for teachers, teaching drug abuse prevention to partners, appropriating funds therefore, and for other purposes, Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Public Order, Dangerous Drugs, and Finance.
447, creating a province called Moro Province and a congressional district for the special geographic area, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Soto III.
To the Committee on Rules.
448, an act establishing a legal scholarship and return service program for qualified and deserving students and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committees on Higher Technical and Vocational Education, Justice and Human Rights, and Finance.
449, expanding the scope of medical practice, amending RA 2382 or the Medical Act of 1999 as amended, and institutionalizing a national telemedicine system in the Philippines, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committees on Health and Demography and Finance.
450, expanding the purpose and application of the Special Education Fund, amending Section 272 of RA 7160, the Local Government Code of 1991, and for other purposes, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committees on Local Government and Basic Education.
Additional reference to business bills on first reading, Senate number 451. Establishing a lifeline rate for internet services, amending Section 17 of RA 7925, the Public Telecommunications Policy Act of the Philippines, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committees on Public Services and Finance.
452, granting benefits to job order, casual, and contract of service employees working in the government, either through direct hire or third-party service contracting agreements, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Government Organization and Professional Regulation and Finance.
453, granting special civil service eligibilities to qualified individuals, amending Section 23 of RA 2260, the Civil Service Act of 1959, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committee on Civil Service, Government Organization and Professional Regulation.
454, integrating road safety education in K-12 basic education curriculum and for other purposes, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Finance.
455, establishing a national framework for the mandatory environmental insurance coverage of environmentally critical projects, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change.
456, regulating the use of treatment technology for municipal and hazardous waste, repealing Section 20 of RA 749, the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committees on Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change and Ways and Means.
457, promoting the adoption of solar energy or any equivalent renewable energy technology in all government buildings and offices, providing funds and for other purposes, Senator Marcoleta.
To the Committees on Energy and Finance.
458, providing for a 100 peso daily minimum wage increase for employees and workers in the private sector, Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Labor, Employment, Human Resource Development.
459, modernizing the Philippine Orthopedic Center, upgrading its service facilities, appropriating funds therefore, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Health and Demography and Finance.
460, providing for a national anti-doping policy in sports, establishing for the purpose the Philippine National Anti-Doping Organization and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Sports and Finance.
461, establishing a National Center for Geriatric Health and Research Institute, defining its powers and functions, creating regional geriatric specialty centers in the Department of Health retained hospitals and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Health and Demography, Ways and Means and Finance.
462, amending RA 10149, the GOCC Governance Act of 2011, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Government Corporations and Public Enterprises, Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation and Finance. 463,
abolishing the travel tax on Filipinos for economy passage, amending PD 1183, the decree amending and consolidating the provisions of travel tax of RA 1478 as amended and RA 6141, prescribing the manner of collection thereof, providing penalties, and for other purposes, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Ways and Means and Tourism.
464, prohibiting the development, production, use, and stockpiling of biological and toxin weapons, providing penalties, and for other purposes, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification and Reconciliation, and Public Order, Nature's Drugs.
465, establishing a nursing scholarship and return service program for deserving students, appropriating funds therefore, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Higher Technical Vocational Education, Health and Demography, and Finance.
466, instituting the Medical Reserve Corps, appropriating funds, and for other purposes, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Health and Demography and Finance.
467, promoting entrepreneurship by institutionalizing a financing program for micro and small enterprises through the Pondo sa Pagbabago at Pag-asenso program, appropriating funds therefore, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Trade, Commerce and Entrepreneurship, Economic Affairs, and Finance.
468, institutionalizing the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship program and promoting social enterprises with the poor as primary stakeholders, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Trade, Commerce and Entrepreneurship, Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, and Finance.
469, upholding the right to life and human dignity of mothers deprived of liberty